Text, think back to when you first started college. What do you wish that digital learning had been like then, and why?
Digital learning at the beginning of the pandemic at college for me was really hard to navigate. Not just because it was my first time as a college student, but I felt like a lot of the questions were just based off like a lot of readings where I wasn't really guided anywhere. As college has progressed more through this hybrid model, I've been seeing a lot more interactive courseware is being used, such as Connect, and I really love it because seeing as when you have an adaptive courseware, it's constantly giving you feedback. So say for like one of my marketing classes, whenever I'll get a question wrong in one certain subject, if I got two or more wrong, it would immediately be like, hey, like it would have like an X and it'd be like, no, like you need to stop, go back to this chapter and review like these key concepts, and I don't have a list of them. So kind of getting like real time feedback helped a lot more. Where I felt like in the beginning, I don't remember what those coursework were, but I would just kind of get them wrong, and then like it wouldn't really like help as much. Like I wouldn't really know. One that I do really appreciate was my global issues class. We had something called Realize It, and it had that same thing where it would have like a kind of like a really big tree, and it would show like different concepts. So like they kept building on each other, but if you kept getting them wrong, then it would show like different colors, and then like I think it was like green being the most completed and purple like needing more work, but you could always go back and redo it. So it didn't matter how many times you got it wrong. It would show you like which concepts you were stronger in, which ones you needed to improve at, but you could always go back. So kind of having that, always having that feedback for me is probably like my biggest thing that helped me learn throughout my collegiate career.
Title cards, Chidinma Ejimonu, Vanderbilt.
When I first started college in fall of 2019, digital learning was kind of used in a similar way to the way it was used when I was in high school. So we would have an online portal where our assignments would get uploaded, or in class, we would use like a presentation slide that our professors would put on and they would use while teaching in class. So I think it was kind of like not a huge adjustment because it's pretty similar. And I think this is something that like most college students in
Chidinma
class
looks up,
experience
then back down.
um, at the time, experienced at the time. But I will say that because of that, I had to kind of
Chidinma's eyes narrow.
think more about ways to help myself learn in more creative ways. Because like the way I think, I don't really like have as much like excitement in terms of like the typical like classroom structure. I have to make it like more interactive in my own way. And it was kind of hard to do when there was such like a very like structured way of how class would go every single time. So I think once like COVID kind of started and we started getting more used to digital tools, I think it was kind of like nice to work on with on things like mural with and like collaborative assignments with my peers or even on my own projects, or just kind of having some sort of like simultaneous like work where we could all track everything we were doing instead of necessarily always having to like schedule time to meet up somewhere. So I think that like even in terms of like learning in the classroom, like just being more like accustomed to those tools, like helped me like determine like which specific platforms would help with me understand certain lessons. And then when it came to learning outside of the classroom as well, it became very like easy to like schedule meetings with like my team members when it came to like working on group projects, or even like when it came to like club projects or things that were not necessarily like specific to academics, like working with diagrams and formulating all these like different ways to convey our ideas. I think that was also something that was like really helpful, just the flexibility that virtual learning gave me. And I also think one thing that has been pretty interesting in terms of virtual learning has been like kind of gamification, I guess, because I just kind of think that making learning like interactive and kind of having that like reward system in place helps me like become even more encouraged to learn. So I think kind of using technology in that way has also helped me just have a more personalized way of learning. And I think that's something I did not get when I was using virtual tools when I first started college.
Text, Georgia State University.
Back when I started digital learning, entering college in fall of 2020, it was especially difficult for me as I had graduated high school early and I didn't really have those few months of online learning that my peers had. So jumping into freshman year of college, it wasn't just beginning college for me, it was beginning my entire digital learning experience. And while I was beginning to navigate that, so were so many professors. Many have tenures and have been at the university for so long, but have never taught in completely digital settings. So instead of having that interactive aspect, it was really hard for not only students, but professors to navigate as well, resulting in pre-recorded lectures or just textbooks uploaded online. And a lot of times I never even spoke to or saw what my professor looked like. So I think the humanity aspect at the beginning of digital learning was really lost. And for digital learning should not only mirror the classroom learning experience, but I think it should exceed that on an interactive level, making sure that you keep in mind that these are real people, because sometimes when you get so caught into digital learning, it's hard to understand that there's someone on either end. And for me, it was kind of hard to differentiate that line. And I think making sure professors and students understand and know that the different interactive resources that are available to them to make sure their class is fulfilling both teaching and learning aspects of it, I think is really important and something that should be taught in different trainings.